Alright, I've gone around it for too long now. Why do I hate shows? Why am I so against the concept of a show? What did they do to me? What does it mean when I say that I am against the concept of a show? I'm just as curious as you are with some aspects, but I do stand very firmly on this. I am willing to learn more about everything that comes my way. And I know my stance on this. Now, what I look for in a movie isn't far off from what the average viewer would. I want the movie to excite me. I want it to feel big and powerful enough to make the message it houses feel real. What I take from a movie is how well it did that. The quality is subjective, so I can get to that later, talking about movies. But the film itself is either good or bad at keeping me hooked, critical, and tied into the story. Take Nope, for example. The movie is a spectacle. Everything they put on screen is to eventually show something much bigger than what we originally thought. The movie even shows us Jupe, a character who takes the little things to heart. Those big things he has taken since then. Those little things that he has taken since then are put towards something much bigger. A crazy monkey doesn't kill him, so naturally, right? The cloud ribcage is this godly power putting graces in Jupe's life. Half the movie is almost entirely Jupe thinking that he's chosen. And I'd say that it does really well with keeping me sanguine enough to put the message across. But also through the movie, there are other concepts, conflicts, and motives. The main character sticks with the dangerous situation because he has family ties to the story. His sister stays because she cares. None of these feel forced. I'm here for 2 hours, and not one part of the movie says, yeah, we can pause here. Come back next Wednesday. That wouldn't work. With the solid story engagements, I wouldn't be able to stop. That I couldn't stop so badly watching the movie that I watched it twice in my first sitting. What it gave me was well done. Now, show-wise, I most recently watched Loki, just season 1, so I can't vouch for the rest, but I think that just one season is solid enough. Loki takes place in the Marvel Universe, which has done really well before with showing us these gorgeous and interesting stories. What we kind of lose in turning an almost 3-hour movie into a 6-hour show is so far consistent with shows in general. We've doubled the length and split it up into hour-long pieces, but that doesn't work. Now, if Nope was split up, it would tear me from the movie. It would divorce me from the story that I was growing into. And Nope is the kind of story that takes a while to get used to. And so naturally, we have a divide on what kind of stories shows can tell. Because just now, there are times when you just can't get behind a show doing a certain kind of story. Kind of like Nope, right? I wouldn't be able to do a show the same way as Nope. It wouldn't work. It just doesn't. It's not that kind of story. So a show is a much more narrow storytelling capability. Now, in making it as a show, each episode would have to be interesting enough to watch as one. One episode. I sit down, one episode. I have 1 hour now. I'll pop on Loki on my phone while I me fold my clothes. While that is valid, yeah, there should be forms of media that are more accessible and concise. That doesn't necessarily make it okay to drop quality for that. In being a show, it is so much easier and logical to play with conflict as one and done. Now, my favorite show is Ninjago, hands down, but they are also the best culprit of this. In Season 2, Lord Garmadon comes in possession of a mega weapon. Now, this is a weapon that he can use only once a day to create whatever he wants, but it costs him his energy. Those are the requirements that they told us that we had to meet when we got introduced to the weapon. Once a day, drains your energy, creates anything you want. And it seems to get less and less draining as the episodes go on, and Garmadon seems less and less creative and smart with his creations, with his orders of the weapon. Now, he demands in one episode to make an insurmountable obstacle in front of the ninja. But they surmount it with ease in like 4 seconds. The weapon did not create what he asked for, not at all. The weapon couldn't even keep its grip on its own description. But why does the audience care? Let's lose respect for the audience. That was 4 episodes ago, 3 weeks ago. That was however long ago. They won't remember. They won't care. However way you put it, there is no excuse to forget plot points. Back to Loki, who suffers from this most notably halfway through the series. Halfway through the first season, at least. Sylvie hides her existence from the TVA by hiding where everyone dies anyway. So meeting Sylvie isn't world-breaking, and you're about to die. But at the end of episode 3, into the intro to episode 4, both her and Loki break from the timeline by having a romantic conversation as they're about to die. Now, what did I just say? They are about to die anyway. They are meant to be dead anyway. Their relationship means nothing as they die. There should be no nexus. No nexus. With a movie, no theater seat would have an occupant after that. But, I mean, I'm hooked to the show anyway, because it seems more digestible than a movie. It's easier to commit yourself to 1 hour rather than 2. Or it's easier to commit yourself to the 30-second TikTok rather than a 25-minute expose. Just things that are getting more common, more easy to think about. Now, the concept of a show is more made for the viewer and their short-term dreams rather than overall storytelling. There's a reason that it's a show. I've said this before, I'll say it again. If there is a 10-hour piece of media, I would much rather have it be a 10-hour movie than 10 one-hour episodes. With a 10-hour movie, it can't take each of the conflicts and kind of view them the same way. Because with a show, every episode has to have some sort of conflict, and each conflict has to be split up in between like maybe 2 episodes, 3 episodes max. 3 episodes max. And then there's like an overarching story, or sometimes there isn't. And you just go wherever you want, do whatever you want. And so that's, shows are fine in that sense. Like, sort of like The Office, or like a docu-series, something like that. It's more made for the viewer than it is for the story, for the plot, for want to give. Now, what a show does is it creates a narrative that could totally take over its 7-hour run, but it kind of subverts the primary narrative in favor for smaller romps, episode by episode. In its stead, with the structure of a show, there is no incentive to bring conflicts together to make the conclusion more fulfilling. Every episode has the same weight. It's all one episode, or one episode, or one episode. So there's no, and if you have too many blank episodes, you're left with sleepy fans and no interest for like a season 2. Now let's take Avatar by James Cameron, for example. Through the 3 hours of the movie, it gives us quite a bit to follow. The Magic Tree Awa says death is bad, but also Magic Tree Awa says human guy is okay. Jake encounters these like dog monsters, but he escapes. Now all of those, he also encounters like a rhino. There's and Awa does like the Bluetooth thing with Sigourney Weaver, and the tribe is like trying to trust Jake, but the humans are also trying to trust Jake, but the humans kind of know what's going on faster than the tribe does. It's all very, very well done. And it's over like 3 hours. Just under 3, but like 3 hours nonetheless. And they all come together in like the final act of the movie, which is, perfect. They unite against a common enemy and win. Now, if Avatar was a show, don't say it. If Avatar was a show, it would seem disjointed without a way to tie everything together. And, like, it would seem disjointed. I said that. Even if they did bring those points into each episode, it would seem forced and slow. For example, if you turned Avatar into let's say a 6-hour show, a lot of the new content would be episode by episode, adding the rhinos, like the rhinos that like attack him at the start. There's like, have the rhinos be some sort of formidable force that you kind of get to learn how they operate as the show goes along. And by like 5 hours in, there's just like, you kind of know what's going on, and like the rhinos are kind of peaceful because like you've bested them. The rhinos respect you, but then the humans come in and they're just kind of like messing up with the rhinos. See, that would be show likely content, and that's not what Avatar was made for. There's a lot more to the story, to the plot, to the presentation than just giving us the same things over and over again, episode by episode, trying to like, lightly progress. It would seem more like the plot would seem like stairs and not a ramp. And the smoothest plot is a ramp. Now, shows or series do things really well, things that movies can't. One 3-hour movie, one like 2-hour, it's not gonna be as good at world building, like branching off into a fictional world and explaining why it's different, why it's more intriguing. That's not possible within one movie, because you need a plot. You need something for the audience to latch onto. I'm not saying that one movie can't. I'm saying a show in concept is better at doing that. Such as a show in concept is better at keeping an audience. I can't tell you how many people, this is a show on Apple TV, Severance, or Ted Lasso, or, all these iconic shows that just, if that was a movie on Apple TV, people would see it, it's an hour 50 minutes, and they'd watch it once and not care. But when you have it as something like nightly, like you have, like you have it every night from 7 to 9 for 2 weeks, that's your show, and you're watching that, and so at work you can be, oh, hey, I'm watching Ted Lasso right now, and they'll be like, oh, how far are you into it? Because I finished it a month ago, and you're just you'll be talking about that. There's feasible points in the show where you can stop, you can explain, you can move forward. So a show is a more social thing because it is made more for the viewer. The show will kind of disconnect itself from the plot. It's like running a video game. It's like I can go anywhere in Concord. I can go anywhere, like the Fallout 4 map. I can choose whatever I want. And yeah, I play for 2 hours at a time. Does kind of feel like a show. I come to a feasible end, and I can come back to it later, or I can come back when I have more skills, and it feels more fulfilling plot-wise. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of strengths and weaknesses, and I'm glad that shows, for the most part, have found their strengths. I am just not a fan of the strengths that the show has. I don't feel like it's more fulfilling as a story. Just in my personal preference. Watch shows, enjoy shows, like shows, be included in the shows, but understand why you like the show.